From the OUTV Broadcast Center in Los Angeles, California, this is Brief News Brief, a brief look at today's trending news topics, proudly combating the thought police since 2016. Here's your host, James Heaney.
I'm James Heaney, and this is your Brief News Briefing. The government is shut down. I repeat, calm down, everybody. The government is shut down. Now, even more unfortunately, I have tarnished my own good name. And unfortunately, I have to make a correction to our reporting, which, as far as I can recall, I have never had to do before. I have always had pinpoint accuracy with the truth. Nonetheless, on December 19th, in our show, we reported that the Congress had struck a deal that Trump was expected to sign, and that the government would not shut down. And we reported that Trump would officially not get his wall. Well, as it seems to happen so often in these times we live in, because it's, unprecedented, just hours later, the following day, all hell broke loose and Trump dug his heels in and decided to shut down the government. This pivot came after much scrutiny of what was going on from the media conservative giants like Rush Limbaugh and Ann Coulter. They made a case for the president saying, "The people will applaud you. The wall is worth a shutdown." And it seems like the conservative media had Trump's ear more than his own advisors, because he wasn't really listening to anybody else. It seemed like the people that had the power to shut down the government was the conservative, and not just regular conservative. We're talking Rush Limbaugh. So far right, real far right, has the power to shut down the government. We could almost call this shutdown the Rush Limbaugh shutdown, but unfortunately somebody already had dibs on it. Trump was like, "Dibs, we'll call this the Trump shutdown." He said it right to Chuck Schumer. I don't know if you remember this, but it's pretty clear. So he already got claims and rights to calling it that. So here we are, 12 days and some odd hours later into this shutdown, and it's having effects all over the country in different ways. TSA employees aren't getting paid. The research I did, I couldn't see if they were going to get their back pay, but they're still working. Luckily, there's, I think, almost 1 million people wrapped up with their paychecks in the government that's being affected by this shutdown. Now, not all of them are not getting paid. I'm just saying that it's tricky out there. But even recreational things like going hiking at national parks, they're closed. Does that stop people who went on vacation to go to those parks? No, they go anyways. But those toilets aren't getting emptied out because there's no employees getting paid to do it. So the septic tanks are overflowing and basically exploding. There's poo everywhere out there. It's a shit storm. Excuse my language. Now, I heard specifically in Joshua Tree, trash is overflowing, poo is everywhere. But they found a prom dress. So if you're missing your prom dress and you left it at Joshua Tree, shame on you. That park was closed. You weren't supposed to be there. Anyways, they're trying to work it out. Yesterday, Nancy and Trump, Nancy Pelosi, I don't know if you know her, I know her so well, I call her Nancy. Sometimes I just call her Nance. Anyway, Nance and Trump had a behind closed door meeting where hopefully they could, instead of having the characters of themselves that they perform in front of cameras, they got to be themselves and just talk. During the meeting, Trump made a case for a wall on the southern border. A case for it? I didn't know that there was any. We don't need to hear your case. We've already heard it. Just open up the government. And he additionally, sorry, that sounded borderline evil. I'm just frustrated here. He also rejected the Democrats' proposals that they had put forward to reopen the government, saying that if he reopened it, I would look foolish if I did that. Well, with all due respect, Mr. President, you already look foolish for shutting down the government, especially saying you would happily doing it. You would happily doing it. Now I look foolish. It's like an Ouroboros foolery. The government used to be in the Republicans' control, and he shut it down while they still had control. That was his only chance. It's too late now. It's too late, Trump. It's too late. You should have built the wall. Well, you never were going to get... Mitch McConnell came out and he said that he is hopeful that somehow in the coming days and weeks we'll be able to reach an agreement. Oh, hope and change, McConnell. Well, today the Dems are taking over the House. And in the first legislative act, as Speaker, Miss Pelosi, Nance, my friend Nance, plans to bring up 2 bills today to reopen the government. Will the president sign off on anything that comes out of the Congress? It's not looking good, folks. You should probably cancel your trips to the national parks because it's a stinky thing that's going on there. An American arrested in Russia has been formally charged with espionage. Paul Whelan was detained last week by Russia's domestic security services while he was in Moscow doing what they described as a spy mission. Well, on Wednesday, the U.S. ambassador to Russia, John Huntsman Jr., visited Whelan in a Moscow detention facility, marking the first U.S. contact that officials have had with him since he was arrested. He was arrested at a hotel while he was visiting to attend a wedding at the Russian capital. I'm not entirely sure if he ever got to go to the wedding. It would suck if he didn't even get to go to the wedding. Anyways, the timing of Whelan's arrest comes just weeks after Russian gun rights activist Maria Butina pled guilty to Kremlin interference in the United States election. And it's raised some questions that potentially maybe Whelan was arrested in hopes that they could do some sort of prisoner swap. You know, we'll give you your American citizen for our Russian spy that has interfered with the elections. Anyways, Butina is the first Russian national to be convicted of seeking to influence the U.S. policy in the 2016 election campaign, and Moscow has gone to great lengths to paint her as a political prisoner. So now that Americans are being held hostage when they go to weddings in Russia, can we call this what it is? It's like a live-action spy novel. Everybody's saying, this is not a spy novel. It's a spy novel. We're right in the middle of it. Stop shouting, because we clearly see we're in a standoff with Russia and their involvement into the 2016 election. It's still developing. We're still learning more things about what Trump's role in this whole thing was. This spy novel is not over. So pay attention now. It's a great reality show. Please don't wait for the movie adaptation. Real life is so much sweeter. The stock market took another big hit today. Global markets shuddered after Apple said that China is buying fewer iPhones. Newsflash, Apple, everyone's buying fewer phones. They last longer because you do such a good job, A, but B, and most importantly, I used to get a free phone when I signed a new phone contract. Now it costs $850. You can buy a laptop for cheaper than that. I'm paying a phone off from 2 years ago. It's like another college student loan, but all I get is a smartphone that makes me feel like a dummy. Sorry, tangent. Technology is leading the way in this stock market nosedive, and real estate is barely hanging on to positive territory. Kevin Hassett, who I didn't know before now, maybe you didn't, nonetheless, he's the chairman of the White House Council of Economic Advisors. He said that there's more pain in store for the United States and China until they resolve their trade differences. So this is what it looks like when the trade war hits the market. Can this damage be undone? Can we get back on course? It seems like it's not going to happen in the near future. It's not just going to be Apple, said Hassett. He said this in an interview last Thursday on CNN. He said that there's lots of other companies. He used the word, in its strong language, heck of a lot of U.S. companies that have sales in China. And they're going to be watching their earnings be downgraded next year until we get a deal with China. The U.S. economy remains strong, with unemployment at a nearly 50-year low. Retailers are reporting a robust holiday season, and the corporate earnings are expected to be, let's call it healthy, when companies begin reporting this month. So don't freak out yet, but it certainly looks like the manufacturing sector is slowing. Investors say slowing Chinese economy puts even more pressure on China and President Trump to seal a deal with China and end the tariffs on Chinese goods before the downturns start to infect the United States.